Hi artists, today we're going to look at the work of two different artists who use two different kinds of shapes, geometric shapes and organic shapes. Now, geometric shapes are the shapes that are made out of lines and points. They have very precise edges, and they're really good at helping us draw things, especially if they're things that are man-made, like buildings and things like that. The other kind of shapes are organic shapes, and they're kind of wiggly and wobbly. They're the shapes you're much more likely to find in nature, things like leaves. Now, Mary Blair was an artist who loved geometric shapes. She worked for Walt Disney way back in the 1940s and was one of the very few women illustrators there at the time. But you'll recognize her work for sure if you've ever been to a Disney theme park. She's the person responsible for the look and design of It's a Small World. The ride was originally designed as part of the 1964 World's Fair. It cost 95 cents to ride, and all the funds that were raised went to UNICEF. Now, Mary Blair was also a concept artist for the movies. A concept artist kind of comes up with the ideas and designs, trying to help the director understand what they want the movie to look like. And she worked on several animated films at Walt Disney. Now, here's one of her designs. It looks very fanciful, doesn't it? And the next one I'm going to show you looks a lot like It's a Small World, and you can see the circles and the triangles and the squares that she uses in her design. Another very different artist was Hundertwasser. He was an artist and architect who built buildings using organic shapes. They are wiggly and wobbly and full of cool lines and fun colors. Not exactly your typical buildings for sure. And we're going to do our best to try to make our own little cityscape. You're going to need some paper, some smaller colored paper that you can cut into shapes, black marker, and some other colored markers or colored pencils or gel pens, anything that you can add color with, some scissors, and some glue. All right, are you ready? Because let's get to work. I started by cutting up some scraps of paper that I had into squares and rectangles, circles, and triangles. The paper I had was left over from a watercolor exercise I had done, but you can use any colored paper, origami paper, or just construction paper cut up. It doesn't matter, you just need different colors. So once I had arranged them, I started to glue them down. As you can see, it's sort of starting to look like sort of a fanciful little castle. Now, once I had glued everything down, I took a big black marker and I outlined all of my edges. It just helped hide a few crooked lines that I had accidentally cut. And then, of course, I needed to decorate it. So I looked at some examples of Mary Blair's work to get some more ideas. And I used markers. And in the end, I ended up using some gel pens. You can use colored pencils. You can even use some chalk or oil pastels, whatever you happen to have on hand that can add some color and details to your work. So in the end, this is how mine turned out, and I'm pretty happy with it. And you can see I've used circles and semicircles and triangles and squares wherever I could with my design. Now, if you're feeling a little more organic shape, you can cut out those pieces into wiggly wobbly shapes for buildings. I used the same sort of scrap paper that I had, and I just glued it all down. I cut some holes in some of them so you could see through them when I layered the papers. And I did the same thing. I traced them with black marker and I added some extra designs. I put in some windows and doors, that sort of thing. And then I got out my trusty markers and added some more designs and patterns and my gel pen, because I'm really obsessed with gel pens these days. And here's how mine turned out. Now, if you don't have cut paper, you can always draw one. I did this one with watercolor, just on paper, and added the marker afterwards. Or you could draw a digital version. This is one I did on Flip-A-Clip. All right, I can't wait to see what you create. Have fun.